Alright guys, we got a little project that I want to finally get around to here in the shop here. The mini pallet that's still down there in the vise that I haven't taken out of the vise since I used it for that last job. I want to do some fly cutting on it. If you recall, on that job I used a face mill that used negative rake inserts, and I had a lot of guys that said that I should have used a fly cutter on there. I didn't use a fly cutter at the time because I was just wanting to use the inserts at that particular moment. Sometimes whenever I use something, it's not because I think it's better than the other, it's just because I just grab that one, I want to use that particular moment. That's all it is sometimes, guys. Simple as that. So I've got a couple fly cutters. We're going to use this one right here. I don't remember where I got this fly cutter from. This might have been something that somebody gave me. I really don't remember now. I did clean it up in evapor rust because it was kind of rusty. I might have even got this from the flea market. I just can't remember. But it's pretty good. I like it because it's nice and beefy. It's got mass to it, which to me is important when you're doing certain types of fly cutting. You need a little bit of mass there behind it. Now this is one that is original to our shop here. This one that I've used, there's no telling how many times. It was one of Dad's. It was also a shop made fly cutter. But you notice that the insert tool holder that's in there, it's a Kennametal. It takes a TPG 200 size insert. And I got two of those. They're the same thing. These are perfect tools for fly cutters. That's the left-handed side, but these always work great for these fly cutters right here. It's got a 1/2 inch shank. I know you're probably wondering what it is, so I'll tell you, so listen up. KTFL 82C. That's the insert right there. I'm not the insert, the tool itself, the shank of it. So we're gonna use that for one pass and see what kind of finish we can get. And then I've also got this piece of 1/2 inch Crucible Rex 95. It's just high speed steel. I'm going to go ahead and dress one of the edges. It'll be that side right there that I'm going to go ahead and regrind that, and I may have to come back and touch it up again, but my hope is that I'm going to have a nice grind on that to where maybe I can get a nice finish on this aluminum. Hopefully like a nice smooth mirror finish, so we'll see. So that's what I want to do. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we'll do is we'll go down there with the fly cutter and the insert tool, and we'll give it a shot and see what kind of finish we can get with it. So we got the fly cutter set up, and what I've done is I've went ahead and centered it. So I've just eyeballed it, and we've got an equal swing across this 6-inch wide plate so that the tool just clears the edge of the part on both sides. All right. And I do have, there's enough shank where that last set screw there is touching the shank there, so I got all 3 set screws on it. And as far as the speed, you know, you typically want to run these things as fast as you can, but as I mentioned before, this is an offset tool that you're swinging right here, so the faster that you swing this, the more vibration you're going to have in your machine. This little mill right here can't handle a real high RPM with that tool. It'll just shake it to death. So I tried it in a couple of the high RPMs, and it did. The whole mill sitting there shanking. Now I will admit that one of the problems I've got is that I don't have this mill sitting on 4 leveling feet, which is something that I plan on changing. I've got some pads for it, but it's just sitting flat on the concrete, so it is going to get a little bit of vibration in it. But as long as you keep it moderate, you won't have any problem. So that's 660 RPM right there, and that's the fastest I'm going to run this thing. So part of the finish is going to have to do with your feed rate, you know. So you can feed across there kind of fast, and it's going to leave you a rough finish on there just because of the, you know, basically the serrations in it. Or you can slow it down and get a little better. But we'll just see. Mainly we just want to see what kind of finish we can get. Now let me see if I can get it back far enough, because I think that I done backed myself into a hole right here. All right, I think what I might have to do is turn the, I don't feel like moving the vise down because I got my little rubber pads. I think what I'm gonna have to do is just turn the turret just a little bit this way and then recenter it, and then we'll do it that way. Give me a little bit more room there. There we go. All right, that way we're not all the way on the end of the travel. All right, don't forget to tighten them back up. We have all kind of problems. All right, we're recentered and I'm ready to touch off on this thing. Now for some lubrication, we're just going to use good old-fashioned WD-40. This works great for aluminum. As other guys have mentioned, you can use kerosene also. Kerosene works great. Kerosene is actually in WD-40, so that's another reason why it works good for that. But whatever you got, you know, smoke them if you got them. Doesn't really matter to me. Now this is already kind of flat, so I'm just going to do 5 thousandths, and it doesn't even really need that much, but we want to establish a little bit of a cut because that insert doesn't have a ground edge on it. I just don't have the rigidity here. I can see the waviness in the cut just from the kind of like chatter almost. All right, we're trying to cut on the back side a little bit. It must be just slightly out of trim. Hopefully that reflection's not blowing it out too much, but look on the back side of the cut. You can see it coming around. It's trying to skin it just a little bit. It ain't much. I'd say that's definitely less than 1,000. That may be, you know, a few tenths that it's trying to skin there. And as the table moves off, now look. I'm sorry. I ran into my feed stop there. That's what it was. So not too bad, right? I mean, it's got a nice bright finish on it, but it just looks like just chatter to me, you know, the tool just chattering across the holes. But that'd definitely work if we're just what we're using this particular thing for, you know, whenever you set it up in the vise, you want to get it nice and flat so you can clamp your parts to it and it's nice and flat and trimmed with the table there. So there's one way to get the job done. Put one of them inserts in there and let her rip. So let's go ahead and just move on from there, and I'm going to go ahead and grind up a high-speed tool bit. Alright, so on our tool bit, when we're just doing a fly cut like this, we're not coming up to a shoulder, anything like that. We're not really too concerned about the angle here on the end of the tool. As long as we have clearance, proper tool clearance like you would always need on a tool bit, and it doesn't rub the bottom of it right here, but we're pitched at a little bit of an angle, so it should clear. So all I really want to do is just grind this. I'm going to give it some it's already got a bit of a back rake or a side rake to it, so I'm not sure what I'll do yet. I'm going to go touch that up. I'm going to give it a nice radius and then hone it really good. What I'm shooting for is a really razor sharp cutting edge where that thing will just come and just shear that thing right on off there and hopefully leave a nice mirror finish when it does it. I am going to give it some more back rake. We've already got some good side rake on it, but I'll just go ahead and give it a little bit more back rake. We're going to start with the coarse wheel, then I'll finish it over there. Now, despite what some of you guys think, you're not going to ruin that tool bit by grinding it and dunking it. Even just grinding it, getting it hot, you're not going to ruin it. This has a red hardness to it. It's designed to get hot. There's kind of what we're looking at so far. Got a little bit of back rake and some side rake. The corner's burned up just a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and make a bigger radius on it, so I don't need to touch the end. I'm going to go ahead and go straight over here to the fine wheel now. Go ahead and touch up all the sides and the top. Now I'm going to start working on the corner radius just a little bit. It don't take much to get it off there. A lot of times what I do is I just come in and I just start touching it. And as I'm touching it, I'm just kind of moving it around a little bit. And then I use the hone to just kind of hone the radius on it. Trying to get to where you can see it. Maybe you can see it a little bit there. So it's a pretty decent radius. I think I'll leave it there and we'll go ahead and hone it in. That's looking nice. This is what you do whenever you don't have the carbide inserts that you need, like those high rake, those high positive rake inserts that they make for aluminum. You can do this right here and achieve really good results all the time, especially for the guys that aren't in a big hurry. You're doing this stuff in your home shop. Or for the guys that run a shop too. Maybe you don't have that nice expensive face mill with all the inserts, or you don't have the inserts. Take your tool bit and grind it up. Got a nice sharp radius on that thing. But like I said, my main concern is the actual cutting edge. I want that thing to be just really sharp so that it just shears it off there. But the radius, you want it to be nice and honed so that it'll leave a nice finish. So here's our finishing stone. This is a tri-stone. You got coarse, medium, and fine. And I'll go ahead and tell you guys that this was Dad's, and he and my granddad, and even my uncle Wesley, my dad's brother, he's passed away as well. They all use this all the time, every week, to sharpen their knives whenever they would clean fish. That was damn near a weekly occurrence at my shop. Was either granddad or my dad. In the later years here, it was actually my dad most of the time. He'd go fishing, and we had a fish cleaning table that they had built on the side of the shop. And that was where the fish always got clean. There was a sink over there and a cover over it. They'd always come in the shop. This was in the back of the shop by the phone, and they would touch up their fillet knives. And it's been well used. That's coming in really nice. Hopefully you can see that good on video. I'm going to work it a little bit more and make sure that it's nice and honed, and then we'll go over there to the mill, start making a cut. All right, round two. So I finished honing up the tool bit, and hopefully that's going to do a good job for me. We're well centered. I went ahead and run it down and centered it, so we're ready to touch off now. Bring it up a little bit closer, and we'll go ahead and turn it on and touch it. And we're going to do the same speed, same feed, same depth. I think that's probably a thou there. It's coming up, so I'm going to take 4 on the dial here. Give it a little go juice. Let's see what happens. Finish is good, but I'm still getting a little bit of chatter, and that's just because the tool's hanging out so far. It just doesn't have enough rigidity behind it to support it. Yeah, we'll just leave it. We'll leave it like it is. Seems to be wanting to chatter more than the first cut. So I believe our tool bit is doing its job. It's got a nice smooth cut to it, but what it's doing is chattering. It's bouncing across there. I'm going to try another cut. I'm going to change it up. Instead of that speed, we're going to cut it in half. We're going to run 325 RPM. So we're going to slow it down. I'm going to slow the feed rate down, and I'm going to see if that'll help. That's usually that always helps me in any kind of machining like on a lathe, especially if you're getting chatter. If you slow it down, that usually helps your problem. So let's try that and see if we can improve on our cut here. Go the right way. I'm going to come up 2.5 thou on the dial there. Slow the feed rate down. So this one will take a little while to get across there. It's doing better, but it's still not ideal. It's still trying to chatter. I just don't think I got enough rigidity in this, in the fly cutter and the mill. How's it look from that angle? Looks a little better, right? So the tool did a good job. Like I keep telling you, we're just getting a little bit of chatter, and I just really think it's because of the rigidity of the tool and the fly cutter that I got there. I've got a different setup that I could do over the K&T with the boring head that I think I could get better results. So we may delve into that another time. But anyway, this was just kind of just a quickie, just talking about a little bit of fly cutting and So we got the big fly cutter we just used. I showed that one right there. I've got a nice little selection of fly cutters to pick from. We got those guys right there, and then we got some little small ones right there. That one I was using, looked like I was cutting some UHMW, so stained green on the end. That's all you need right there to cut UHMW plastic. Doesn't matter if you're turning or what, just use a nice radius. So anyway, that's about it for this one right here. I hope you enjoyed. I was going to mention that also, you know, a fly cutter is just a great inexpensive way to mill something flat. If you don't want to tear up your end mills and carbide and that kind of stuff, you know, use one of these fly cutters if you got a part that you're having to dress down, such as exhaust manifold. If you're having to cut that thing flat, if you got something you got to weld up, you know, these are a great tool to have around there, and these are really cheap. These are just some imports right here. They don't cost very much. This one, I forget where that come from, but that somebody made that. Now that one's a little bit higher quality, I'd say. That's a little good one right there for some small fly cutting. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one.